Good morning, students. Today we are going to start new chapter, the Indian Constitution. In this chapter there are three learning objectives. First, to understand the Constitution. Second, to develop an understanding of the vision and the values of the Indian Constitution. Third, to learn about the key features of the Indian Constitution. In this chapter, we are going to begin with cricket, a game many of you have probably heard of or even played. It is played according to certain rules and regulations. To understand what is a constitution, we took here one example. A batsman is given out by the umpire if he hits a ball in the air and the ball is caught by a fielder without touching the surface. A controversy arises when the batsman feels that the ball actually touched the ground before flying in the air, or when he feels that the fielder actually floored the catch before holding on to it. The decision of the umpire is final and the batsman has to follow his decision. If the decision of the umpire was not considered final and respected by all the players, utter confusion and chaos would have followed. Similarly, other games such as football, hockey also have rules according to which they are played. Each of these rules helps define the game and helps us distinguish one game from another. Likewise, people living in large societies have to follow certain rules and regulations. Like these games, a society also has constitutive rules that make it what it is and differentiate it from other kinds of societies. In large societies in which different communities of people live together, these rules are formulated through consensus. And in modern countries, this consensus is usually available in written form. A written document in which we find such rules is called a constitution. Now students, we have looked at the Indian Constitution in classes 6th and 7th in our civics book. Have you ever wondered why we need a constitution, or been curious about how the constitution got written or who wrote it? In this chapter, we will discuss both these issues and also look at the key features of the Indian Constitution. Now, we will see next topic, why is a constitution needed by a country? Most of the countries in the world have a constitution. Most of the constitutions are written, like those of India and the US. Some countries like England have an unwritten constitution. They follow rules and regulations based on convention and tradition. Almost all democratic countries have a constitutions. It is not necessary that all countries that have a constitutions are democratic. The Constitution serves several purposes. First, it lays out certain ideals that form the basis of the kind of country that we as citizens aspire to live on. Or put another way, a constitution tells us what the fundamental nature of our society. A country is usually made up of different communities of people who share certain beliefs but may not necessarily agree on all issues. A constitution helps serve as a set of rules and principles that all persons in a country can agree on all issues. A constitution helps serve as a set of rules and principles that all persons in a country can agree upon as the basis of the way in which they want the country to be governed. This includes not only the type of government but also an agreement on certain ideas that they all believe the country should uphold. Let us understand the above concept by going into the recent history of Nepal, our neighboring country in the north. Until very recently, Nepal was a monarchy. All powers were concentrated in the hands of a king who ruled with the help of a council of ministers. The previous constitution adopted in 1990 confirmed and restated the fact that the king was the final and supreme authority. The movement for democracy in Nepal, which had been continuing since 1990, gained crucial momentum in 2006. Under the combined leadership of the seven-party alliance, King Gyanendra reinstated the old Nepal House of Representatives in April 2006. The reinstitution of parliament was accepted by the SPA, which declared that GP Koirala led the new government. In 2007, Nepal adopted an interim constitution in April 2008. A new constituent assembly was elected, which finally abolished monarchy and established democracy. For the first time, a president was elected, finally succeeded in putting an end to the powers of the king. Now the people have to write a new constitution to establish Nepal as a democracy. The reason that they do not want to continue with the previous constitution is because it does not reflect the ideas of the country that they want Nepal to be, and they have fought for. As in the game of cricket, in which a change in the constitutive rules will change the game altogether, Nepal, by moving from a monarchy to a democratic government, needs to change all its constitutive rules in order to usher in a new society. This is why the people of Nepal are in the process of writing a new constitution for the country. The caption alongside elaborates Nepal's struggle for democracy. Another important role of a constitution is to define the nature of a country's political system. For example, Nepal's earlier constitution stated that the country was to be ruled by the king and his council of ministers. In countries that have adopted a democratic form of government or polity, the constitution plays a crucial role in laying out certain important guidelines that govern decision making within these society. In a democracy, people elect their representatives through periodic election to rule on their behalf. However, there is always the possibility that these leaders, MPs and MLAs, might misuse their authority, and the constitution usually provides safeguard against this. This misuse of authority can result in gross injustice, as demonstrated in the storyboard situation below. One of the main concerns of the constitutions is to lay down rules to prevent misuse of powers by people's representative and to stop discrimination against less privileged groups in the society. In the Constitution of India, most of these laws are enshrined in the chapter of the fundamental rights. The fundamental rights guarantee certain important basic rights to all the citizens of India. These rights are enforceable by the court of law. You have read about discrimination against B.R. Ambedkar and the Om Prakash Valmiki in the previous class. Both of them faced discrimination and humiliation in their childhood house because they were Dalits. Those who wrote in Indian Constitution were well aware of the prevalent social and economic inequality. Therefore, they included the right to equality in the fundamental rights. According to it, no citizen can be discriminated against on grounds of caste, religion, gender, race, and place of birth. Another important function of a constitution in a democratic society is to protect less privileged groups against misuse of power and privilege by a dominant or more powerful group. In the storyboard, the boys won because they were in majority. Such situations occurs in a democratic society quite often. The interests of the minority are subjugated to those of the majority who are able to impose their decisions which go against the interest of the minority. This is called the tyranny of the majority. All questions concerning the society should not be left to numbers. Every community has certain basic and inalienable rights which are fundamental to its growth and development. All citizens are equal before the law. In our country, there are several minority communities: Muslim, Christians, Sikh, Parsis. The Constitution lays down rules which protect the rights and interests of the minorities. These rules are also included in the fundamental rights. This is another function of the Constitution, to prevent the domination of the minority by the majority. The constitutions contain rules and laws to stop intra-community dominion. One community dominating another, and inter-community domination means groups within the same community dominating other groups. Such rules are necessary to prevent social conflict and mutual rivalry among the people. As you know, peace and prosperity go together. All of us need to have self-discipline. The third important reason why we need a constitution is to save us from ourselves. That is to prevent us from taking wanton and whimsical decisions which are harmful to us, to our society and to our country. The following storyboard will help you understand this concept. Sonia had to check her desire to attend marriage ceremony and abide by the advice of her mother. Similarly, the constitution helps us to take decisions which are in larger interest of our society and country. Now, our constitution lays down certain fundamental principles according to which the country is to be governed. These are referred to as basic structure of the constitution that cannot be altered or amended even by our parliament. The members of the Constituent Assembly were wise and far-sighted. Each of the provisions of the constitution was discussed in great detail and with great sincerity. Our constitution is best suited to our needs, ethics and ideals for which we waged a long and painful struggle against our colonial masters. A good constitution does not allow modification in its basic structure. There are basic provisions like the fundamental rights and the directive principles that cannot be changed. There are provisions for amendments to rules which need to change according to changing circumstances. So, we will finish here. In the next class, we will discuss key features of the Indian Constitution.